You're listening to Power BI and More from CRM Audio with your new host, Ulrich Carlsen and Joel Lindstrom. This episode is sponsored by Dynamics 365 User Group. The user group for Dynamics 365 and CRM community is powered by users, for users, and specializes in the delivery of member-driven education, networking, and events to help you maximize your current Microsoft Dynamics investment. Check out their website at crmug.com, where you can register for the upcoming Focus conference. Well, welcome to Power BI and More. We got two people here with us. Scott Sewell, our host, to this date at least, and
so far so good.
and Scott's replacement.
All right, so, out with the old, in with the new.
Big announcement. So, Scott, what has changed? What's different?
Pretty much around the end of the year, I acquired a blue badge. So I've gone to work for Microsoft as a global black belt, which my nephew, my 8-year-old nephew, was really impressed that I have a global black belt. He thought that was cool. Everybody else was like, okay. So, but
he thought some kind of martial arts were involved.
Yeah, he really did. He was excited about it. So, so I've got one person on my sphere there that's impressed, but it's good. So I've joined Microsoft as a global black belt focused on Dynamics CRM, specifically in the customer service space. And as a result, I'll be working on working with partners and assisting on large proposals and implementate. Not actually the implementations, but on the proposals and the vetting by the customers, working through that process with prospects actually.
So you work a bunch on Power BI, talk about syncing shifts, get hired at Microsoft for customer service.
Exactly.
Makes sense to me.
Actually, during the interview process, I demoed. I took the Titanic data set, and because I was interviewing for customer service, I took the Titanic data set and I used the Power BI customer service template that's available on the Power BI solutions template site, and over Thanksgiving, I about pulled my hair out trying to load the data, create enough data for it, and load it, and make it a demoable environment. But so that was, and in the conversation, that was part of the, that was part of the factor that helped me through the process, because the Power BI plus CRM. Actually, the whole Power Apps plus CRM is an area that Microsoft is deeply focused on right now, and is going to be heavily investing in. So, anybody who has focus on CRM plus the Power Apps, including Power BI and Flow and Power Apps, all that, that's an area that Microsoft is investing heavily in and is betting heavily on for the future. So, this is a good place to be.
So since you're moving out of the directly working with Power BI day in, day out, you'll still be using some of it. But, being moved out of that, we were talking that, the Power BI show must go on. So who would be a good person to take your place? And one person who really has stood out in this area is Mr. CRM chart guy, Ulrich Carlsen. So, Ulrich, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Thanks for thinking of me.
And Scott, did you bring along your torch to pass to Ulrich?
I know, that's right. I have a license key or something that I can pass along. I'll give you a free license to Power BI desktop.
All right. Copy the Titanic data set.
That's right. Oh,
awesome. Maybe some red laces too.
Sure. I've got a spare pair of it for you, so that's good.
All right.
But no, we thought that Ulrich. You've been on the show before, and I thought that you were somebody who has shown some leadership in tying together CRM and leveraging the visualization tools that are out there. And I just think that your leadership that you've shown in that is fantastic, and I'm excited about being able to hear what you have to say about Power BI going forward.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, and it's some big shoes to fill, Scott. So you've definitely been in that position. So yeah, I'm a little nervous taking it on, but I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting topic to be around right now. I mean, it's Power BI has come out of nowhere seemingly over the last, I guess, 2 years now. Has come from barely a blip. I mean, sort of an Excel add-on, basically, is what it was at one point, to being the market leader, and customers more and more see the value that comes from being able to take the data that they have and bring it out and visualize it for either themselves or to be able to communicate that data to people in their organization. And they find that Power BI is being such a usable, an easy tool to visualize that data. Such a powerful combination. I mean, the projects you've worked on recently, have you? Do you have some customer projects where you've incorporated Power BI with CRM?
So I do, yeah. So, but mostly it's used in the for I call it like the top down and more the executive reporting.
Okay.
Where we get all the data, we possibly also get some data from other data sources, not Dynamics 365 necessarily. And you have these dashboards where you can drill down and you get all these, great visualizations, information that, which I think is awesome, like, enables the user to just like sit and click around and perform all the filters and all that. And of course, add those drill downs and add those links directly to Dynamics 365 so you get that tighter integration between the two systems. What I haven't done yet and what I'm kind of excited about, and you mentioned a little bit in the beginning using Power Apps, Power BI, and actually starting having a much tighter integration between all those different services. So I know some of the Power Apps features just came out. I'm really curious to investigate more on how that will work with Dynamics 365 and see if we can bring that integration even tighter. There's also one area where I know a lot of people have been asking to use Power BI, but it hasn't necessarily been available. And that's actually just putting the Power BI visualizations on the individual forms. So you open up a customer form, for example. It's like, hey, I have this great dashboard in Power BI. Can I see that on this form, but just for that customer? That's where I've so far been doing some workarounds. And I think it's an open question whether or not that feature will actually be available, if that's an area where you would still be using the built-in charts for that, or maybe the new solution Custom Insights will kind of take over that area and do all the customer-specific visualizations. I think that's where 2018 is going to be really exciting too, to see how all that is gonna pan out.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, maybe you have some insights since you're on the inside now.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, but I have to kill you. Yeah. One of the interesting things about exactly what you described is I started down that path, and again, this was just my exploration. I haven't closed the door on that I've got it solved yet, but I started down that path of trying to embed a form inside of CRM and Power BI, like an iframe inside of the CRM form. But as I started down it, at that point, I started saying, wait a minute, every time I open this form, it's actually doing another call back out to Power BI. And so just the load of the form got I felt like that was going to become a slowdown factor. I did manage to stick a ribbon, button in the ribbon that takes the record that I'm on, passes that to Power BI, and opens up a report for that record, filtered to that record. I did that with the Titanic data set. And I felt like that was, at least in my mind at the stage I was in, that was a compromise I was good with, because I thought, all right, I need more than just a single pie chart in a window. I wanted a bigger picture visualization about what's going on with this particular record. And so what I did is, like I said, I just in the ribbon chart button, and I used Scott's tool to add a button there that just passes the GUID of the record that I'm on, Power BI, and because I had the GUIDs in that data set, I could filter to it for that record. So that was my I don't know if I don't know necessarily call it a compromise, but that was the right solution for the application I was working on.
Right. What I've been doing is a little similar, is just generating that URL in a field on a Dynamics 365 form. So you would basically just click on a hyperlink there that would automatically put it in the GUID. But I think that's another good reminder. Say always add those GUIDs to your Power BI data model.
Good call.
Because otherwise, there's a lot of things you can't do if you don't add them.
Yeah.
Ulrich, I think one of the things I'm excited about is not that I won't miss Scott. I'll miss Scott dearly, but one of the things I think you've distinguished yourself as the CRM chart guy. So you've really gotten into the out of the box visualizations deeper than almost anybody, and also now into the analytics side with the Power BI. So we can talk a little bit broader about the more part of this, which is, as a Dynamics customer, what can you get out of the box versus Power BI? And I'm specifically thinking about the interactive dashboards that were Interactive Service Hub that are now in Unified Client. There's a lot of really neat visualizations in there that we didn't have access to, and abilities to have like a common filter for date ranges that applies to everything on the dashboard. And I think that's going to broaden what you can do out of the box, but also whet people's appetites for doing even more. Right.
And if we start out with the new UI and the new dashboards, I mean, they look great. There's some new features with the date filtering, and you can do, mass filter the entire dashboard in one go. Usually you would have to filter those individual, those 6 components individually. However, the new version, I feel, is still basically in its version 1. There's also a lot of features that we used to be able to do, but that are not available yet in the new UI. So, for example, any customization, and this is, of course, something that bothers me specifically, is any customizations I do to those new charts will be overwritten. So any order, color changes, anything I do will basically be overridden, and it'll be like the default chart that Dynamics 365's new UI say it has to be.
So all those great XML things that you've documented that you can do, and now you can't do those anymore?
Just gone. But I'm wondering if this is just a version 1. I do believe it was noted in the release notes as a known limitation. Because they built in some additional features in it. When you click on a chart, for example, it would automatically change the whole window to the chart and list view at the same time, and have some options there that you didn't have previously. But on the other hand,
I think that's a smart thing, because I've never seen anybody really want to use the standard click-through chart-to-chart feature that you have on the dashboard currently.
Oh, the drill down?
Yeah, everybody wants to go from I know I'm generalizing, but from my experience, everybody I talk to wants to go from a chart to click in and go to a list, or maybe a list and another chart, but don't want to go from. It confuses people to say, okay, click on this chart, now I choose something else and get another chart.
Yeah, you do you filter down, and I think I agree to it can be a little convoluted, but I also heard a lot of people complain in scenarios, because if you do even with the chart editor, depending on how you set up your chart, or do some specific XML customization, you actually lose a part of the drill down, or lose the drill down in some scenarios. And in those times, I also have a lot of people complain, like, why can't we do drill down in this situation? So I guess people always want what they necessarily can't have, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some of the things that you have on the agenda for some of our upcoming episodes?
I mentioned one of them earlier. One thing I'm very intrigued about is the Power Apps and Power BI, how they're going to play together, and specifically how can we use Power Apps from Power BI to perform or if trigger actions within Dynamics 365, make them work as even more uniform one product as they already are. We can already do a lot of integrations there, but tie that even closer. That's something I'm very interested in how that's going to pan out. There's a new solution coming out that I'm personally very, very excited about. That is the Customer Insights, which is also analytical oriented. Customer Insights is the new database in Azure. It's a graph database that we can replicate all of our Dynamics 365 data and our social engagement and our Exchange data and perform customer-specific analysis, as well as perform user-friendly machine learning models and put the results right back into Dynamics 365 and get, scores on our opportunities and ratings on the customers and churn rates and all of those things in a fairly easy setup. That's a solution I've been waiting for a while now, and I'm very excited that the release date here is forthcoming. Should be coming out this year.
Yeah, I know that's,
I've been crossing my fingers for over a year now.
It's still a preview product, so it's you can try the preview out. Like the marketing preview, I think it's going to change a bit before we see the final product. But Scott, I know there's details that are NDA that we can't share, but my question is, what is the strategy of having a kind of a standalone thing in Customer Insights or whatever that will become, and then having a more general analytics stack like Power BI? Do those cannibalize each other? Do they work together? Where do you see that going, Scott?
Let me think how I can answer this. The road ahead is very, very exciting. I was in a briefing the other day that was with partners, but it was under NDA. So without sharing any specifics of it, again, this is something that Microsoft is doubling down on. I think in a general terms, one of the things that you'll see is how they built the original relationships. The original tool was really, here it is, you spin it up, here, go grab a bunch of Azure resources to pull together to enable that, which, creates, certainly as Ulrich, as you found, it can be done, but, there's quite a few dependencies. I think one of the things the messages I'm hearing is that that's going to be streamlined and made so that you can, an average customer should be able to spin this up without having to also manage Azure resources in parallel, as well as the platform is being standardized in a way that will allow for third-party apps or third-party data to be to enrich the data you have in there. So the future is really bright. And Ulrich, to your point earlier about the aspect of, obviously in the new version you see Flow right there inside of CRM now. So Flow is becoming embedded as a part of the DNA of CRM, or vice versa, however you want to say it. We've seen the CDS evolve to embrace CRM, and we've got friends of ours that are on that team that are leading that, and who we all respect a lot that are doing that. And part of the process of in the interview conversations I talked to one person who talked about one of the things that's on the roadmap is a deeper and more fully unified interaction between CRM and Power Apps, and to just making Power Apps appear to be an extension, just a seamless extension of CRM or the CDS platform. So we're living in the golden age.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I agree. It's really exciting. My question though is more having things that because I remember when back when I used to work with you, Scott. We had a conversation with a client, and I brought up Customer Insights, and
right.
There's a little bit of confusion because they thought, now is that Power BI? I know it's something different. So I guess I'm trying to understand, what is the logic of having something that seems to overlap what you could do with Power BI, but being its own standalone thing, specifically geared for customer analysis? Is it?
And why would you call it insights like everything else?
Yeah, is it? Hey, here's something that you can get up on faster. That's a supported product, and can be extended with Power BI. Or it seems like that's what I mean. The disconnectedness of this and the other existing analytical tools. Is there a come together point for them?
Power BI is still going to maintain it. I mean, it's always going to be its own. Well, at least for the foreseeable future, it's going to be its own platform because it has so much application that has nothing to do with the dynamics. It's not beholden to dynamics at all. So that's always going to be a separate application, if you will. If not, there will be, like you see in the AX world, where I guess what do you call it? Dynamics 365 for operation and finance. I need to learn all my correct terminology, all my correct marketing names now. You see that the Power BI embedded within that as maybe an extension of the product out of the box. I think you're going to see the same thing on I have no NDA necessary because I really don't have any specifics other than just hypothesis. You're going to see the same thing on the CRM side. You're going to see Power BI. A user is not even going to realize they're using Power BI. It's just a natural part of the environment that they're working in. With regard to relationship analytics, I think you're going to see that as just an extension of spinning up CRM. Just like right now you do it with portals, you add that to CRM. And it's there. It's a part of the product. It happens. You don't have to worry about, quote unquote, integrating it. It's just an extension of it that then becomes this platform on which you can do stuff within CRM or outside of CRM. And I think that's going to be something we see a lot of.
Yeah, and I guess these questions come from when I played with the preview, and again, it's a preview. It's you can go sign up for it, get an environment, but it was kind of like a blank slate once I set it up, and so you had to set up your charts, you had to set up your dashboards, and it just got me thinking, if I did the same thing with a reporting tool like Power BI, I would have to basically do the same thing. So, Ulrich, what do you think is going to be, when you're advising somebody when whatever we call customer insights right now comes out, what are you how are you going to distinguish between that, hey, use this thing versus let's create something with Power BI? And
just before you answer that, by the way, get used to the word insights. That one's popular right now. Everything's going to be in something at blank insights going forward. So
we have that. Customer insights, we have relationship insights. There's the quick insights feature in Power BI.
I wonder how that translates to other languages. Is there an equivalent word to insights in Swedish or something that, I don't know.
I have no idea. And they use the English terms, so they're equally as confused. And specifically with customer insights, and a lot of people have confused it with relationship insights, which it is not, even though they're kind of related.
From insights from Inside View.
All right, yeah, we have insights by Inside View too. So yeah, that's just too many products with insights in the name. But when it comes to advanced customer, I really look at the context of where they want to use their visuals, what kind of KPIs that they're calculating, and the data that they're using. And the reason the context is so important is that customer insights and the panels that you create in customer insights, so basically the charts and visualizations, are specifically designed around being customer specific. And customer insights out of the box provides you iframes, embedded links, and is specifically designed for you to embed those visuals on the customer-specific form, and even give you the code and everything the web resources that you can put in Dynamics 365. So whenever you open up your opportunity form or your customer form, you'll see those visuals and KPIs that you generated within customer insights. So if that is what you're looking for, those customer-specific visuals, then customer insights might be the way to go. But there's a lot more to customer insights than just the creating visualizations and calculate a few KPIs, because obviously we can do that with Power BI too. And a lot of the KPIs that people put on their forms or calculate, a lot of those can be done with the built-in charts too. And then, we'll won't even have to worry about the Power BI license and the Azure cost of customer insights. However, customer insights also bring some unique additional features, and one of them is related to the fact that I mentioned that Customer Insights is actually built on a graph database, which means that it's uniquely positioned to perform machine learning studies on it and use artificial intelligence. So when you set up your processes and you put in your opportunities and replicate all your data into Customer Insights, you can actually run a model, say, I have all these opportunities in my data. These are the opportunities that I won. These are the opportunities that I lost. And then Customer Insight is basically going to do all the dirty work for machine learning purposes, find out what are all the predictive signals and everything that happened with these opportunities, and use that and tell what are your predictive signals. Is the amount of emails, is the amount of tasks, was it selling team that was included, was it specific industry, and rate those. And it'll also score all your open opportunities. And Customer Insights will then enable you to put those on your panels and display that information on the opportunity record itself. Those are some things that you wouldn't necessarily use Power BI for. You can use Power BI to generate move some data to machine learning, perform a lot of this. But Customer Insights is basically going to do all that for you. So that's some very exciting features there. And I think it's good to remember that you don't have to pick one or the other. You can use Customer Insights and Power BI and the built-in charts all in combination with each other. And if you do have all three, you just got to use the one that fits the purpose of what it is that you're doing in a given scenario.
So the power where they're going with Customer Insights is really the segmentation and decisioning and machine learning, in being able to more of an analysis tool that's tightly integrated with Dynamics. Makes sense.
Right. With Dynamics and any of the other sources that you can connect it to, which would include social engagement, your Exchange, you can build custom connectors, so you can pull in all your custom data sources into the same database.
Yeah, so cool. Okay, well, this is exciting. Sounds like we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Are you finding with the analytics, that we call it advanced analytics, be it Power BI or something beyond the out-of-the-box charts and dashboards, are you finding that many companies are doing that at deployment at the same time, or are most following the trend of let's see what we can get out of the box, and then when we hit that limit, then as a next step, then let's bring in the advanced Power BI, advanced dashboards, that type of thing?
So the implementations I work on, which we're very business process oriented in the beginning, and want to implement all features. People see Power BI, we demo it, and definitely try to sell it because there's a lot of great features in there. But what I see right now is yeah, that's great, but let's get all the processes and everything in first, and then we'll start looking at optimizing with Power BI afterwards. That's what I see the most. But now, however, a situation where that's great. We want that specific overview from the beginning, or we do have business analysts on staff who can start using it right away, or maybe they're already using it, or they're using a competitor and they want to use that for a little while before they look into transitioning to Power BI. I still see that a lot. Power BI is still fairly new. A lot of people haven't heard of Power BI. You still hear, Tableau and ClickView and all of those other tools that are out there that people may have been using for years, and do we really want to change at this time, etc. type of arguments. But Power BI has a very compelling feature set, along with a very compelling price. So I think it's just a matter of time before most Dynamics 365 customers, because they are in the Microsoft environment, will transition to Power BI.
That's one thing I'm seeing. Maybe anecdotal, or I don't know if it's a trend, but more and more I'm seeing there's at least some some guy there who's playing with Power BI. He's got the desktop downloaded. He's playing with it. He's doing some dashboards. Some of them are doing some pretty cool stuff, but that's been a change versus a year ago where we basically had to say, this is Power BI. Here's what this is. Now they at least have some kind of familiarity with what it is.
Yeah, I would say that there's a when I was talking with particular customers, I don't really try to say, hey, look, here's a shiny new tool. Power BI is the cool tool to use. I really focused on, here's the information we can help you see. Here's trending information. Here's how we can help visualize what's going on, and really talk about it from the solution that it provides as opposed to the tool it is. And as soon as we start talking about that has led to customers sort of surfacing requirements that they have about what do they want to know about what's going on inside their business, which then drives the need for a dashboard, which then Power BI is a good tool is the best tool for presenting that dashboard. So I think as opposed to saying, hey, you guys need Power BI, we talk about, hey, what do you want to know about your business? What kind of information will help you decide or help you make better decisions and take action on the decisions? How can we best communicate that? And then that ultimately drives Power BI.
Right. Yeah, and I think, Scott, you mentioned this earlier too. Power BI is its own application. It's not just an extension of Dynamics 365. And I think that was really an eye-opener for me last year. I went to the Power BI World Tour in Silicon Valley / San Francisco, and I was very surprised to learn that I was like one of the very few Dynamics 365 oriented people there. I ran into a lot of people who hadn't even heard of Dynamics 365 or Dynamics CRM. They were using all kinds of other applications or working for very large corporations that had their own custom-made stuff. So I was like, wow, this is real. I thought, because until then, Power BI in my world had been, we used it with Dynamics 365. Yeah, you can also connect to all these multiple other sources, and that's great. But Dynamics 365 was always the starting point for me because, that's the area I work in. So it was really an eye-opener to be there and sit with all these people and be like, the odd man out working with Dynamics 365. That was very interesting. And I think that also one of those areas that I look to see, like, how much are we actually going to see integration with Power BI and Dynamics 365, since Power BI is as much of a standalone application, which of course come with some additional license requirements and so on that you have to factor in when talking to customers.
Yeah, so this is going to be good. So Scott, have you passed the torch?
Yep, I think so. I have passed the torch.
Ulrich didn't burn his fingers or anything.
You guys are in good hands. I'm learning a lot here already, so looking forward to it, man. It's been fun, and I'm excited about the future we have together.
Yeah, you're welcome to come back whenever you want.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely want to hear your comments, Scott.
Tell us all your secrets that nobody else.
Yes, that specifically.
What was the thing you were saying about you had to re-engineer the Office coffee maker? Your first.
Yeah, I had to reboot the espresso machine. So a friend of mine said now I'm just indispensable to the office, but thankfully. So anyway, it's good times.